Good evening and welcome back to the final episode to the Guide to the Attack on Titan Tribute game. In the previous episodes, we talked about striking, survivability, speed, all that other jazz. I gave you a calculator so that you could analyze your speed runs, find your weaknesses, and improve upon yourself. But in this fifth episode, I'm going to be talking about your community. Because I really believe that it's the people in this game that especially the ones that that either inspire you or the ones you hang around with that really make you who you are in the game. And I'll explain that more in later sections, but first we're going to talk about this picture that I took a month ago. It's actually a really important picture in my mind because it kind of, for me, represents three different generations of players. Like, I'm not on the level, like compared to their time, I'm not on the level in my opinion on these guys, but to just give you some perspective, Tiny Weed here is, and if you don't believe me that that's Tiny Weed, I commented on his video and he confirmed that that was him in the server, so that's really cool. Tiny Weed was, in my opinion, the best player back in 2013, early 2014. He was the fastest, he could do anything. He was just my inspiration, and he was the guy who inspired me to make my own videos and just work from there and try and be as awesome as I could, even though I was limited because of school and life and everything. But he really inspired me. And then this guy Shisui over here, he's in my opinion the best player right now. He got 170 in 10 minutes and got a damage run that was like over 300k total damage in 10 minutes. That was pretty crazy. But apparently I met this guy 2 years ago in a tournament, he told me, and I beat him when he was still young, when he was still new. And then ever since then, he just kept playing and he got really good. But he told me that I was his inspiration or something. I thought that was pretty crazy. And the fact that we're all lined up right now, it's like one successful generation after the other. This is the first generation, second generation, third generation. So in some way or another, there's always someone who's building upon someone else, you know, and their stuff. But it's just crazy for me to think how we kind of build on each other as time goes on. So I was talking about Shisui and each generation of players, like the first, second, and third generation of players. But really what it comes down to is who you are directly in contact with. So, for example, Tiny Weed, he was in the Towns of Liberty, so he was surrounded by great players, the greatest at the time. He probably had friends he wanted to train with or be better than, and so he played the game. I myself, I hung around with a guy named Toxic Paste, who was better than me, and I wanted to be better than him, so I played. And Shisui, he hung around in the Russian community since he's Russian, and he played with his own friends. There was this one guy he wanted to be better than, that was his friend, and he was eventually better than him, and now he's the best. So who you directly hang out with affects how far you'll go, essentially. So Shorty, this player named Shorty, I met Shorty 2 years ago in an Annie game, and he wasn't very good, but he was, you know what, he could take down Annie on his own. I was kind of impressed by that. So I decided to take him under my wing, and I told him, hey, do you want to get better at the game? He was like, yeah, sure, let's do it, you know. And I taught him the ropes, and then I taught him almost everything that I know. And then 2 years ago, I could beat him in a duel, 100 kills to 20, and now now he can crush me like 100 to 70. Like, I cannot beat this guy. It's incredible how fast he's become. That's why I don't feel the need to speed run, because he's kind of done it for me. You know, look at that, 145 in 10 minutes. The reason in my mind why Shorty's such a success is obviously, yes, he put in so much work into the game, like on his own. That's how he did it. He just trained all the time back then, and just wanted to, I don't know, be able to fight me. But I really tried to give Shorty the better side of the community, the side of the community where there's no drama, there's no whatever. We just played the game for fun. We had a good time. There was, all that stuff. We joined this guild called Timeless, for example, a couple months ago, where it was completely filled with new players, but we just had a decent time. And you know what? Ever since those, like, 2 years ago, the guy never really, I mean, he had breaks at times, but there was never a point where he was like, man, fuck this game. Like, I'm not going to play it anymore. It's just, I always wanted to give him that good community so that he would want to keep playing the game, because that's the thing, really. That's what I'm trying to say. If there's ever a player that, or if you are just in this game and you're just not having a good time with it and you leave, then all that training really just goes down the drain. Like, that's the secret to being a great player, is you have to be able to want to play this game. You have to want to play this game. You have to have a reason to play it. If you don't have that good community, if you don't have everything, for example, that I gave Shorty, I guess, I don't know. If you don't have players you compete with or anything, then you just won't realize your full potential. You just leave. And I mean, that's fine, but if you want to get better at the game, then, dude, you have to find a community, like 100%. And I don't mean just hang out with anyone. You need to hang out with a community that respects you, that you can have fun with, a community that you can really envelop yourself in. If you just find yourself becoming frustrated and you just want to leave the game, you have no reason to play it, then what's the point of it all? That's the point. So, yeah, find a good community, and not only that, but find a community where people are better than you. Because if they're better than you and you play with them, then more than likely you're going to pick up things from them, and you're going to become either at their level, near their level, or even above their level. It works just like that. So find a community. So we've established at this point that who you hang out with or who inspires you almost indefinitely determines how far you go in the game. It really drives how much you want to play the game. So then there are different types of communities that you can join. Like, for example, I'm showing Dragon Slayer right now because he was a part of the damage community, where they did speedruns and damage only, where they had big titans, ASO rules, and it was at least 1k minimum for damage. So he just did stuff like this. And then this inspired a bunch of other players to do other damage runs. And so this was the damage community. And then there are other communities like speed, where it's just speed runs, nothing damage related. That's what I'd like to do. Of course, there's alley style, I guess, although there isn't a big community for that. There's Blade PvP, huge community, where a bunch of Blade PvP players just learn and build on each other, and they compete a lot. Bomb PvP, even, there's a community for that. Racing, definitely racing. There's a lot of racing players, and they play the game for racing, like almost exclusively in Acuna or custom maps in the RC mod. So not only does the community you hang out with determine how far you go in the game, but sometimes it even determines how you play the game, what game modes you play, and other things like that. So it's really a pick and choose type situation. So find and play what you think is most fun. So I've mentioned many communities so far and different ways to play the game. And at one point we had a tournament called the AOTTG Summer Olympics, where we had many of these different communities come together and find out who was the best guild overall by competing in different events, like playing in Forest Lava, so Forest 4. We had Forest 3 completion, speed duels, damage duels even, racing maps, and everything else in between. I'm not sure if I mentioned Blade PvP yet, but yeah, there were guns and swords matches as well. And we were just trying to find out who was the best community, and we had points. We had a whole point system. It was a lot of fun. Sadly, I don't think that there are going to be any more tournaments as big as this, but it was nice. It was nice. And So, what I recommend for you is if you want to get better at the game, you can try to find yourself in multiple communities. Dig around, and you know what you'll find is that most of the play, in my experience anyway, most of these communities have a different fundamental understanding of the maneuver gear. So if you just kind of look around and interact with people, you might pick up things in the game that you never really thought of before, and it'll make you better in a way that you never really thought about, I guess, in the past. So that's what I recommend. Um, anyway, honestly, I think that's it. Your community, different communities, digging around different communities, different generations of players. I think I've talked about it all. At this point in the series, I think I've given you everything, almost everything that I know. Everything that I've talked about in this series, I told Shorty. So if you stick to the homework that I gave you at the end of each episode, if you, and here's your assignment, by the way, if you, if you stick to the homework that I gave you at every episode, at the end of every episode, if you take into almost everything that I say, like take into account almost everything that I'm telling you about communities and everything, then I think you have a really good chance at becoming the best you can at this game. And you know what? If you don't find a community that you can really get involved with, you can make your own. Like there's just make your own. It's almost as easy as that. That's what I did a couple times, although I wasn't really able to stay in them for too long. So it's kind of sad, but I was fortunate enough to, over the years, find many good players and friends that just stuck with me through the game and who I could kind of talk to and play with. So it was a lot of fun. Anyway, that's almost the end of this video. There's just one more thing left to do. So let's get this over with. This section is not to tell you how to live your life. It's for me to tell you that I wish you luck in both AOTTG and your life, and that I hope you find the best of company. Your success will be your own. Jasui's success was his own. Shorty's success was his own. Tiny Wheat's success was his own. Same thing with Dragon Slayer and all the others. But I still hope you find good company. Your friends really matter. You should let them know that. Your family, too. That's so random, man. Honestly, I'm not sure what to do with this channel anymore. I'm pretty sure that I'm satisfied with AOTTG. I've done everything I wanted to do, including 100 kills in 10 minutes with Ali style. And now I'm just satisfied. I don't know. So there's a straw poll in the description of this video. And I ask you a question and there are 3 answers that I give. And so give me your opinion on that. I think I still know what I want to do with this channel, but you know, all that stuff. Anyway, I'm moving to a university tomorrow, so everything's going to kind of change from here. I just wanted to get these last couple of videos out before, you know, it was too late. So, yeah. Anyway, best of luck. Have a nice day.